it just gave off a sexiness about the song, and you can't do that. You can't do that. Not in '53. You can't do no shit now in 2021. They got throw babies everywhere. You heard me? Throw baby. You can talk about sucking. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, and subscribe, because it is so important to our success here on the YouTube. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please remember to hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube, and for a small monthly fee of $5. You babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's talk about Raised to Survive, the Etta James story by Etta James and David Ritz. At 14, my childhood had ended. At 15, my professional recording career had begun. Johnny Otis turned out to be much more than a promoter and a musician. He's a guru, a man with an encyclopedic knowledge and appreciation of Black music. He sees its wholeness from gospel to blues to jazz. I dug how Johnny Otis reinvented himself as a Black man. People took his Greek shading as Creole, but Johnny took it even further. He viewed the world, and especially the music world, through Black eyes. His soul was blacker than the blackest Black in Compton. Now, I don't know about that, Etta James. I don't know about that girl. He also knew what it took to make an artist. By coincidence, he also discovered Sugar Pie DeSanto and gave her that name. He had a genius for hip names. Johnny could name a person in a minute. Sister Suki, Handsome Mel Walker, Little Esther, Young Johnny Watson, Shorty Long, The Mighty Flea. Johnny Otis turned the Creolettes into the Peaches. He also re-Christianed me. He was the one who flipped everything around. Hence, James Etta is now Etta James. Thanksgiving Eve, 1953 was unusually foggy. Me, Johnny Otis, and the Peaches were at the studio in Hollywood cutting Roll With Me Henry for Modern Records. My buddy Richard Berry made the date. He sang the part of Henry, providing plenty of humor with the down-in-the-hole bass voice of his. Hey, baby. As Richard. We got these people in the studio, okay? We got the Peaches to include Etta James. We got Richard Berry there to do the baritone, voice, or the deep bass voice, whatever it is, adding comic relief to the song, okay? And we have Johnny Otis, okay? Of course, Johnny Otis is going to be there because, I got to keep my hands on the ninjas, okay? Even though Etta James is like, oh, he's a Black man inside of a white body. Girl, there ain't no such thing as a Black man inside of a white body. And I know you're going to be like, yes, it is, Nay. I got a wigger that lived down the street from me. Girl, ain't no such thing as a goddamn wigger. We got all these people in the studio recording this song called Roll With Me Henry, okay? Roll With Me Henry is a response to Hank Ballard's Work With Me Annie. And how the song took off was because Johnny Otis, he owns a rack of shiz, right? That's another reason why he cannot be a Black man underneath a white skin, okay? Pay attention. How Johnny Otis marketed Roll With Me Henry was to play the song at one of his establishments. He got a whole record store out there that he is promoting a group that he has cultivated, okay? So anyway, he wouldn't tell nobody what the name of who the name of the person who sang the song. He didn't put it out there as Peaches. The people were loving the song. It was getting local airplay, okay? Roll With Me, Henry, right? The response to, Work With Me, Annie. So he's creating a buzz. Now how he did it was, he was like, let's name this little girl. Let's name her, okay? He didn't market it as, it's a whole group of 3 girls. He marketed it as, what should we name this little girl? The business side of the song got complicated. Even though I wrote the lyrics, it was Hank Ballard's melody. Now, when it came down to this song, the words were hers, okay? Miss Etta James sat down and wrote that song herself, but it was an answer song to someone else. So y'all know how this works, right? You just can't go in the studio and create new words on an old song. That's not how it works, okay? Ask Cardi B. When she made Bodak Yellow, she had to, is it Bodak Yellow or Yellow Bodak? Whatever it is, I forgot, it's been so long ago. But she had to pay Kodak Black, you hear me? That nigga still getting paid off of Bodak Yellow, okay? But it works like that. So you got, Modern Records, who cut the song Roll With Me, Henry, okay? And then you got the, what's the name of this? You have King Sid's Nathan's record company out of Cincinnati that cut Work With Me, Annie. They looking at them, Modern Records, like, you're not going to pay us? You're not going to pay us? You're going to steal our artist song and you're not going to pay us? Ultimately, they got to work it all out, okay? And according to Etta James, they cut the profit from that album so many ways that ain't nobody gets. Then you got this other lady named Georgia Gibbs, okay? Georgia Gibbs came up with her own version of Work With Me, Annie, who Etta James recreated and made Roll With Me, Henry. Now, she got this other song, right? Now, the thing about Etta James' song was that it insinuated sex, okay? But that's not what it was about, okay? It was about dancing on the floor. But because it was so raunchy and, sweaty, like it just gave off a sexiness about the song. And you can't do that. You can't do that. Not in 53. You can't do no shit now. In 2021, they got throw babies everywhere. You heard me? Throw baby. You could talk about sucking a dick. All this lady was talking about is about digging and grinding with Henry. And they said, answer, no, you can't put this on the air. We ain't gonna make this same mistake as this dumb bitch Etta James, okay? She can't even get no radio air regularly because it insinuates that she rolling with somebody, okay? We're gonna take the words and we're gonna say, dance with me, Henry. Her version, Georgia Gibbs' version, became so popular that she ended up singing it on the Ed Sullivan Show. Etta James and her feelings. Bitch. Books have been written about the thieves who ran the R&B business. The history of black music is filled with tales of exploitation. Bessie Smith, Fats Waller, Billy, they all got ripped off. Songs swiped, money squandered, one-sided contracts, God knows what else. And I came along at the start of this teenage craze in the 50s. On the other hand, I didn't know shit about the business, and for a long time was too young and foolish to care about learning. I didn't understand a copyright any more than I understood Einstein's theory of relativity. If Johnny Otis wanted a piece of my song, who was I to argue? Johnny Otis, after all, was the reason I got to quit school and make a record. Over my long career, I've gotten a reputation for being difficult and hard-headed in business dealings. That's partly true. It's something I learned to develop for self-protection. But as a teenager, I wasn't above ass kissing. Modern, for instance, had B.B. King, John Lee Hooker, Pee Wee Creighton, and Elmore James. Hell of a roster. I felt comfortable because my buddies were there, a whole flock of California kids I'd grown up with. Richard Berry was on staff as a writer and arranger. He'd been hired by Jules Bahari. The Baharis are all right, Johnny Otis told me. Jules is cool. He goes with nothing but black women. I wonder why. Jules was a naturally tan man with prematurely white hair. He wore silk suits and looked like a yellow pimp. Word was, Jules was loving on Etta Brooks, one of his artists. The story went that he dressed her in fur coats and put her in Cadillacs, and when she sat down to play her piano, she was wearing sparkly dresses from Hollywood designers. Etta was fine. She strutted around the modern office like a peacock, but when her royalty statements came, she saw all these items. The fine clothes and the fancy ride had been charged against her earnings. The Baharis were cold. The Baharis threw that girl Etta in a trick bag, okay? Oh my God, what's the name of this dude? What's this dude name? Jules, okay? Jules got him old fine black woman, okay? He loved this artist that he had under his tutelage, okay? Ooh, fine, yeah, she everything. He bought her ass furs, sparkly clothes, nice Cadillacs, everything she needed. Okay, that lady would, prance around the office like, ooh, look at me. I'm an uppity black bitch. Look at me. I'm hunching one of the Baharis. Oh, she was doing it big until she sat down at the table and they had new addition to her ass. They sat her down and she received a check for, what was it, $2.86. Okay, and she was like, what's this? What's this? What's this? It's your money. Where all the rest of it? You're wearing it. You're driving it. That fur coat. She looked at the dude that she was hunching. Nigga, you set me up. I'm thinking that you buying me gifts and I'm buying this shit for myself. And she got Lisa Raye. Okay? Remember how Lisa Raye McCoy had ran over there to Turks and Caicos and married that dude and then found out after that the nigga bought everything in her name? The coldest of all the Baharis was the sister Roz. Roz was the most notorious because she guarded the cash. No one else was authorized to touch the bread. You couldn't get a $10 advance without Roz saying okay. In my mind, when you get a hardcore woman over the business, no man can touch her. Now, Joe Bahari was the baby boy, okay? He wasn't thinking about black, vagina. He was thinking about gambling, okay? So he went out there and bought him some racehorses, okay? None of the Baharis, none of them, okay, knew anything about music, but at least Joe Bahari knew how to be an engineer in the music business. So they was three the hard way, okay? Well, not so hard for Jules, because he was tricking all the black girls, making them think that he was, buying them shit. And for real, they was buying it for themselves. Okay. Then you got Roz Bahari. Okay. That's old. I'm sure she was, I'm sure she was a mess. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm sure that, she was this old burly bitch. Then you got the dude, Joe Bahari, who don't, he don't care about nothing too much about music, but he can engineer. Etta James says, in addition to singing, I was writing. They didn't pay me a salary, never helped me pay the rent, but if I wrote a song they liked, they might cough up $25 or $30 for the publishing. Girl, that'd be the only $25 or $30 you get. After Roll With Me, Henry, the Baharis wanted to cash in with a follow-up. Hey Henry didn't do it. Good Rockin' Daddy did. Good Rockin' Daddy is another primitive example of strong early rock. In the code language of rhythm and blues, good dancing equals good screwing, and the character I play, the young Etta James, is bold enough to compliment her man for doing such a crazy twist. Hank Ballard wrote his famous twist in 1958, but it didn't sweep the country until Chuck Berry started twisting in 1960. So now she on the road, okay? And she is feeling humiliated because she feel like, wait a minute, I'm a young and up-and-coming artist. This is how you treat me? Because the young girls, the Peaches, weren't allowed to wait in the wings with the rest of the stars. Them girls had to sit on the edge of the stage, and as soon as they were introduced, Don't go changing. Then, secondly, while they're on tour, Etta James ain't even realized that she was a star. You got people coming up to her going, girl, why he treating you like that? You sitting on the edge? Don't you know you a star now? Etta's like, I'm a star. When did this happen? I don't know. But bitch, you a star now. Now Etta's starting to feel like, no. Answer no. What's not going to happen is you ain't going to have me leaping up from the stage like a goddamn frog. No, but she was kind of getting sick of Johnny Otis and all the bull snit with them. Because she knew that them people was taking advantage of her, okay? She knew that she had to get an adult to be on her side, to help her out with all these different interactions with all these business people, right? The person ended up being her mammy, Dorothy. What in the hell? So Dorothy ain't never supported her daughter, ever, okay? Remember when her daughter was singing down there to the church? That girl wouldn't go down there unless she could sell pussy out of there. So Dorothy grabbed her goddamn conniving ass, looky whitey brother Herman, who also went to jail for extorting businesses and rich white women. Okay, this nigga is passing for black because remember his father is an Italian gangster. So Dorothy is overseeing her daughter with her conniving ass brother, Uncle Henry. Now, if you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, and subscribe because it is so important to our success here on the YouTube. Now, remember this. The same people that you meet on the way up, you will meet on the way down. Naysayers, my patron loves you, babies. Have a